Imagine a legion, 5,000 men, the peak of ancient engineering, a wall of iron, wood, and discipline that conquered the known world. Now, imagine 50 men. No shields, no horses, just digital camouflage and the cold steel of an M27 IAR. At first glance, it's a slaughter. 100 to 1 odds. Mathematics says the Romans crushed them by sheer mass. But math doesn't account for the sound of a supersonic crack, or the psychological horror of gods striking from 800 yards away. Because today, Rome doesn't just face soldiers, they face a ghost from the future. Steel versus lead, Rome versus Quantico. The ultimate clash of eras begins now. The setting is a narrow valley in the Teutoburg Forest, Germany. The year is 9 AD, but the timeline has fractured. On one side, heavy fog, dense oak trees, and mud that clings to your boots like tar. On the other, a clearing where the rules of physics are about to be rewritten. The air is thick with the scent of pine and the metallic tang of impending violence. Commanded by a seasoned legate, the Legio 17th is at its prime. This isn't a disorganized mob. It's a living, breathing machine of war. The gear: segmented plate armor, lorica segmentata, heavy oak shields, scutum, and the deadly gladius. The mindset: they've never seen a weapon they couldn't outmaneuver or outlast. To them, the 50 men standing in the distance are just a small raiding party, an afternoon's work. The formation: they march in a tight testudo, a literal tank made of human skin and wood, a reinforced platoon from the 1st Marine Division. They have no air support, no artillery, just what they carried on their backs. The arsenal: M27 infantry automatic rifles, M240B machine guns, and a few M110 semi-automatic sniper systems. They have limited ammunition, roughly 400 rounds per man. The Edge: NVGs, night vision goggles, thermal optics, and the most lethal weapon of all: communication. They operate as one nervous system via encrypted radios. The strategy: suppression and terror. They know they can't kill all 5,000 with bullets alone. They have to break the Roman soul. The Marines are dug into a shallow ridge. Through their 4 times ACOG optics, the Roman centurions look close enough to touch. The Marines can hear the rhythmic thump, thump, thump of thousands of hobnailed boots hitting the earth. It vibrates in their chest. The legate raises his sword. He sees 50 men standing still. No archers, no spears. He smells a quick victory. He signals the charge. 5,000 voices scream, "Mars ultimor!" Mars, the Avenger. The ground shakes. The wall of shields begins to trot, then a full-speed sprint. The Marine platoon leader waits. 600 yards, 500 yards, 400 yards. He clicks his radio. 2 words: free fire. The Roman front line is a wall of confidence. They are 300 yards out, closing the gap. Then, the world explodes. It's not the thunder of a catapult. It's a rhythmic, mechanical crack, crack, crack. At this range, the 5 56mm rounds are traveling at nearly 3 times the speed of sound. The Romans don't hear the shots that kill them. The first row of centurions, the bravest, most experienced leaders, simply vanish. Their bronze helmets don't deflect the bullets. They shatter. The scutum shields designed to stop arrows and spears, are punched through like wet cardboard. The Roman momentum stutters. They've never seen men die like this. No visible projectiles, no archer formation. Just men falling over in heaps, holes appearing in their chests as if by an invisible god. The Marine M240B machine gun teams open up. This isn't precision shooting anymore. It's a grazing fire corridor. A wall of lead traveling 2,800 feet per second zips through the dense Roman ranks. Because the Romans are packed in a tight formation, one bullet doesn't just kill one man. It overpenetrates, passing through a shield, a chest, a back, and into the man behind him. The Romans attempt to close ranks. "Testudo!" the surviving Optios scream. They lock shields over their heads. In ancient warfare, this made them invincible to missile fire. Against a Marine platoon, it's a death trap. The Marines adjust. They aim for the legs or use the M110 snipers to pick off the officers through the tiny gaps in the shield wall. The Roman formation becomes a slaughterhouse. The screaming is relentless. The smell of copper and burnt gunpowder fills the valley. But the Romans are not cowards. They are the finest heavy infantry in history. The legate, realizing his center is being decimated by magic, orders a flanking maneuver. He splits his 5,000 men. The center stays to soak up the fire, a sacrificial lamb, while two wings of 1,000 men each break off into the dense woods. They use the trees for cover. They stop screaming. They move like wolves. The Marines' advantage is being neutralized by the terrain. The dense fog and thick oaks of the Teutoburg Forest begin to swallow the Roman movement. The thermal optics on the Marines' rifles start glowing with hundreds of heat signatures moving through the brush. "Contact left! Contact right!" the radio crackles. The Romans are now only 50 yards away, hidden by the ancient timber. They launch their pila, heavy javelins. A rain of iron-tipped wood whistles through the air. A Marine is struck in the shoulder. His body armor catches the tip, but the force knocks him back. The Roman machine has finally touched the ghosts. The distance is closing. 30 yards, 20 yards. The Romans realize the gods are just men in green clothes, and those men are starting to reload. The forest is screaming. At 15 yards, the technological gap starts to shrink. The Marines are no longer fighting a distant target. They're fighting a tidal wave of flesh and bronze. The platoon leader realizes the terrifying truth. Ammunition is a finite resource. Roman courage is not. The Romans have adapted. They aren't marching in rows anymore. They are leopard crawling through the mud, using the bodies of their fallen brothers as sandbags. They've learned that the thunder sticks are less effective when you aren't standing upright. One of the M240B machine guns clicks. Dry. The gunner frantically reaches for his last belt, but the Roman wing has already breached the perimeter. A Roman primus pilus, a veteran of 20 years, leaps over a fallen log. He doesn't throw his pilum. He uses it as a spear. He drives it into the dirt where a Marine is kneeling. The Marine rolls, draws his M18 service pistol, and fires 3 shots into the Roman's chest. The Roman falls, but 3 more take his place. This is the turning point. The Marines are forced to collapse their perimeter into a tight circle of death. They are back to back. The air is so thick with smoke and fog that their NVGs are blooming out, becoming useless. They have to flip them up and fight with raw instinct. The Marines transition to condition red. Every shot must be a kill. But the Romans are now within striking distance.
The Roman legate, seeing the Marines' fire rate slow down, senses the magic fading. He orders the final trump card, the cavalry. Hidden behind the ridge, 500 equites, Roman cavalry, thunder out from the tree line. They aren't aiming for the front. They are charging the Marines' flanks at 30 miles per hour. The Marines have no anti-tank weapons because there are no tanks. They have to use what they have. Frag out! A shower of M67 fragmentation grenades meets the horsemen. For the Romans, this is the end of the world. Earth and fire erupt from the ground. Horses scream as shrapnel tears through them. The shockwave alone disorients the Roman infantry. But the grenades are gone. The magazines are nearly empty. The Marines are down to their last 20 rounds each. The platoon leader makes a desperate call. He knows the Romans are superstitious. He orders his men to fix bayonets and activate their high-lumen tactical flashlights simultaneously. In the dim, bloody fog of the Teutoburg Forest, 50 blinding artificial suns suddenly ignite. To the Romans, it looks like the soldiers have captured the stars. Fix bayonets! The Marines don't retreat. They charge. 50 men, screaming a war cry the ancient world has never heard, run straight into the heart of the 3,000 remaining Romans. It's a gamble. Will the Romans see them as men or as demons that cannot be killed? The sun sets over the Teutoburg Forest, casting long, jagged shadows through the smoke. The screaming has stopped. The mechanical clack of rifles has been replaced by the low moans of the dying and the rustle of wind through the oaks. Who stands? The Marines held the ridge. The Roman legion, for the first time in its history, broke and fled. Not because they were outmatched in courage, but because you cannot fight what you cannot understand.
To the survivors of the Legio 17, they didn't fight soldiers. They fought gods of thunder and light. But look closer at the ridge. The Marines are out of ammo. Their uniforms are shredded. Their high-tech gear battered by primitive iron. They have 50 men, but 12 will never go home. If the Romans had stayed for just 5 more minutes, if they had pushed through that final, blinding light, the outcome would have been a massacre of the modern men. In this simulation, technology won the battle, but mass almost won the war. It's a chilling reminder. No matter how advanced the weapon, at a certain point, war returns to its most primal form: inches, blood, and the will to keep standing. The 50 Marines survived the day, but they are trapped in 9 AD. Their batteries will die, their oil will run out. And Rome has more legions, thousands more.